Everything you're about to hear is just my assessment. It's my opinion and not to be taken as fact. Case study: Ron Carpenter and the Redemption Relentless Transition. Conflict introduction. This case study examines the leadership decisions, ethical failures, and operational conflicts surrounding Ron Carpenter's transfer of Redemption Church to John Gray and Relentless Church. It draws on legal filings and publicly disclosed disputes to evaluate Carpenter's actions against biblical leadership principles, ethical standards, and organizational management best practices. The analysis will highlight specific incidents where Carpenter's conduct allegedly fell short and assess the broader implications for church leadership. Background of the transition. In 2017, Ron Carpenter, then pastor of Redemption Church in Greenville, South Carolina, announced he would move to California to establish a new church. He approached John Gray, a prominent pastor and associate at Lakewood Church in Houston, Texas, to take over Redemption's Greenville campus. Carpenter described the transition as a seamless process, promising Gray full autonomy over the Greenville congregation and operations. Gray renamed the church as Relentless Church, bringing his vision, leadership team, and congregation building expertise to the community. However, what began as a hopeful transition quickly devolved into legal battles, public disputes, and allegations of unethical conduct. Both parties filed lawsuits accusing each other of breaches of contract, financial mismanagement, and defamation, creating a highly publicized conflict that damaged the reputations of both Redemption and Relentless churches. Key issues and allegations. 1. Misrepresentation of financial stability. Carpenter is accused of misrepresenting Redemption's financial health during the transition. He allegedly claimed the church had experienced its best financial year and assured Gray that there were no significant liabilities associated with the properties. However, documents revealed that Redemption had a $4 million loan on the Imagine Center and additional financial instability that was not disclosed during negotiations. Leadership implications. Misrepresentation violates the trust essential for successful leadership transitions. Carpenter's failure to provide accurate financial information left Gray and Relentless unprepared to manage the church's existing debts. Biblical context. Proverbs 12:22 states, "The Lord detests lying lips, but he delights in people who are trustworthy." By withholding critical financial details, Carpenter undermined trust and acted against biblical principles of honesty. 2. Lack of financial transparency. Relentless's legal filings allege that Carpenter and his team, particularly Travis Hayes, Redemption's CFO, failed to provide requested financial documents before and after the transition. This lack of transparency made it difficult for Relentless to conduct due diligence or assess the true financial obligations they were inheriting. Leadership implications. Financial transparency is crucial in nonprofit organizations, particularly churches, where resources come from donations. Carpenter's lack of transparency created an environment of mistrust and poor accountability. Biblical context. Luke 16:10 teaches, "Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much." As a leader, Carpenter had a responsibility to be forthright about Redemption's financial status. 3. Mishandling lease agreements. When it became apparent that Redemption could not fulfill its promise to transfer ownership of the church properties, Relentless entered into lease agreements for the facilities. Relentless claims it paid all required rents and even covered expenses not their responsibility, such as Redemption's legal fees. Despite this, Carpenter served Relentless a 30-day lease termination notice in late 2019, creating a crisis for the congregation. Leadership implications. Terminating the lease in this manner disrupted church operations and violated the spirit of collaboration and trust needed in ministry transitions. Biblical context. Matthew 5:37 says, "Let your yes be yes and your no, no." By reneging on previous agreements, Carpenter failed to uphold his word. 4th, defamation and public slander. Hope Carpenter, Ron Carpenter's wife, allegedly made defamatory statements about John Gray on social media and in private meetings. She accused Gray of being dishonest and shady and claimed Relentless was months behind on its bills, claims that Relentless disputes. Leadership implications. Publicly attacking another pastor undermines the unity and credibility of the church. It also shifts focus away from ministry to personal conflicts, harming both congregations. Biblical context. Ephesians 4:29 warns, "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs." Leaders are called to model grace and restraint in their words. Fifth attempted power disruption. In January 2020, Redemption allegedly attempted to disconnect power to the Greenville campus, knowing that Relentless relied on the facilities for Sunday services. This action, had it succeeded, would have disrupted worship and ministry activities. Leadership implications. Such actions reflect retaliatory behavior rather than the reconciliation and cooperation expected of Christian leaders. They also risk alienating congregants who value stability and transparency in church leadership. Biblical context. Romans 12:18 urges believers to live at peace with everyone. Carpenter's actions contradict this exhortation by escalating conflict rather than seeking resolution. Sixth, misuse of church funds. Relentless claims that Carpenter used church funds for personal gain, including a $250,000 annual retirement contribution. This demand reportedly placed additional financial strain on Redemption, exacerbating the church's existing debt. Leadership implications. Church leaders are stewards of donated resources and must use them to advance ministry goals, not personal enrichment. Misuse of funds undermines donor trust and the mission of the church. Biblical context. 1 Timothy 3:2-3 warns that overseers must not be lovers of money. Carpenter's financial demands, if true, suggest a failure to prioritize the needs of the congregation over personal interests. 7. Failure to pursue reconciliation. Relentless repeatedly requested meetings to resolve disputes through biblical principles of reconciliation. Carpenter reportedly refused these overtures, opting instead to escalate the conflict through legal action and public statements. Leadership implications. Refusing reconciliation demonstrates a lack of humility and a disregard for biblical conflict resolution. It also prolongs disputes, harming both congregations. Biblical context. Matthew 18:15-17 outlines a clear process for resolving disputes among believers. Carpenter's refusal to engage in reconciliation efforts violates this teaching. Analysis of leadership failures. 1. Ethical failures. Misrepresentation of finances and withholding information indicate a lack of integrity. Defamation and retaliatory actions demonstrate poor conflict management and divisiveness. 2. Operational failures. Poor planning and execution of the transition created chaos for Relentless Church. Mishandling lease agreements and financial disputes further destabilized the ministry. 3. Spiritual failures. Carpenter's actions, as alleged, contradict biblical principles of stewardship, honesty, and unity. His refusal to reconcile in pursuit of legal battles reflect a failure to prioritize spiritual leadership over personal grievances. Lessons for church leadership. This case highlights the importance of ethical leadership, transparency, and humility in ministry. Christian leaders must model the values they preach, especially during high-stakes transitions. Key takeaways include: 1. Transparency. Leaders must ensure all financial and organizational information is shared openly during transitions. 2. Reconciliation. Resolving disputes biblically preserves the unity and testimony of the church. 3. Servant leadership. Leaders must prioritize the needs of their congregation over personal ambitions. Conclusion. Ron Carpenter's actions, as outlined in the legal filings, reveal significant leadership failures that caused harm to both Redemption and Relentless churches. By failing to uphold biblical principles of honesty, humility, and reconciliation, Carpenter damaged his ministry's credibility and created lasting division within the body of Christ. Moving forward, this case serves as a cautionary tale for church leaders, emphasizing the critical need for integrity, transparency, and spiritual accountability in all aspects of leadership.